welcome, and thank you for joining us here today on SOA, Speaking of Audacity. I'm your host, Princess. Today we have a very exciting show for you. It's the Tantric Daddy. We have a special guest. He is Jeffrey, and he is a guy who wears many hats. He's a serial entrepreneur. He is a quantum Reiki masseuse. He is also a sacred intimacy couples counselor. His focus is on women's health. He has a slew of certifications that would take me this entire introduction, but we'll get into a little bit of that when we have him join us. So without further ado, let's bring on Jeffrey. Hi, how are you?
Hey, now, how are you? I'm doing well.
Good. Thank you so
Mhm.
much for joining us today. How is it going?
All right, life is great. Had a great start to the day, and I'm looking forward to a wonderful weekend.
Yes. And I know in my
Mhm.
introduction, one of the things that I did want to mention was that you do a lot of holistic work and studies. You're have something new opening in Malibu. Can you tell
Yes,
us a little bit about like where you are now with what you're doing?
yes. In my health and wellness evolution, it's brought us back to Malibu. We'll be officially opening our doors in July. And then we'll have locations on the East and West Coast because we have an office out in Atlanta as well. And so we cover the whole gamut when it comes to health and wellness. We have energy healers on staff. We have the traditional herbal medicine, and we do traditional massage. My particular modality, which is a quantum Reiki massage, is a combination of energy work and traditional hands on massage. And so it's more of a holistic approach. We also do ear candling. We have the ozone therapy. We have a whole slew of modalities that we offer. So there's something for everyone because there's no one cookie cutter approach to anybody's situation or challenges that they're dealing with. And so we have something that can address their challenges on multiple levels.
Yeah, okay. So would you say that everyone's experience would be different coming into what you offer?
Yes, there's some across the board things that we'll address, especially from the mental standpoint. I know this may sound a little bit out of the box, but a person's mental state has a great deal to do with their overall health. And so toxic thoughts begat toxic health. And so we usually start with that and then find out where a person is at mentally and then test out where they have a tendency to gravitate towards. Because some people may be more receptive to herbs and whatnot. Some people may be more receptive to the energy healing. A lot of people are more receptive to physical touch. And so that's where the massage comes in and the energetic massage. Our healing modalities made to meet a person where they are in their holistic journey. And so we have something for everyone. And then we have that starting point, and then we can take them into the cosmos and healing and living a life of abundance that everybody wants to have and be able to enjoy.
Oh, nice. Wow.
Hmm.
So what do you do in your work and the area of intimacy and counseling?
That's something that's come on board as of late, and it's tied to the new queen in my life, my partner, my intimate partner. She has opened up a whole new world for me. I did a lot of work last year during like COVID. Everybody was like losing their mind. I was having the best time of my life. Sometimes I feel guilty for saying that, but it that was a platform that really took my evolution to a whole nother level. Because wherever I thought I was before, and that was a year ago, I just shot to the stratosphere. And so I'm in no way, shape, and form reached the hilltop as far as enlightenment is concerned. But I've made some major strides in that journey. In doing that, I did a lot of shadow work last year. Shadow work was dealing with the things that kind of exist internally that hold us back. It's almost like a glass ceiling. And in working on myself and coming to grips with like who I am and accepting me for me and loving me for me, once I was able to do that, and then also heal what they call a heart cage. My daughter, she's a master in Reiki. And when she did the session on me, she was like, Daddy, you got something going on with your heart. And I was like, what do you mean? She was like, no, I can feel there's a blockage. There's like a cage around your heart. And she's like, if you really want to take this work to the next level, you're going to have to work on that. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what do you mean? Like, I don't know what you're talking about. In my mind, I had actually worked on a lot of things over the years. But the thing is, I worked on it from an intellectual standpoint. So I intellectualized the traumas from my past, and I didn't really feel the traumas from my past. And because of that, it was blocking me and inhibiting me from being the best that I can be in this space. And so that's when I really went in hardcore, doing the mantras, meditations, the spirit baths, the cleansing, the rituals at the beach, just a whole slew of things. And then the classes I took over that period as well have been transformational for me. And it's really taken me to the next level. Like, I can't even put into words what it's done for me. But the number one thing that it did on top of everything else was once I cleared out all that baggage, it opened me up to have a powerful, strong, loving, be open to have a strong, loving relationship. And I was at a retreat, and it was amazing. I went to a retreat, didn't know quite why I was there at the retreat, other than the fact that I was being called to go there by multiple people. It's like, man, you need to go to this retreat. You need to go to this retreat. And I had something planned with the kids that weekend. And I was like, nah, no, I'm good. I got something planned with the kids. I don't want to put this off. And they were like, no, you need to go. And then I kept getting that call from different sources to go to the retreat. And I said, all right, you know what? There must be something to it. The universe is trying to get me to make a move. And so I go to the retreat and I'm looking like, okay, I'm here. Now, what is it? Why am I here? And then lo and behold, there was a knock at the door. And there she was standing right there in front of me. And I knew right then and there why I was at that retreat. And we've just been doing our thing ever since and growing and taking it to the next level. So that's where the inspiration for the sacred intimacy couples counseling comes into play. Because when we're together, even when we're not together, our spiritual connection is on such a high level. And the biggest part of it is that our interaction, our love that we share is healing and it's therapeutic on both of our ends. And so, like I said, I'm nowhere near the end of the road on my spiritual wellness journey, but having a partner that is there to share that energy and is able to heal me just as I'm able to heal her, and like I heal my clients on a whole nother level, is a godsend. I can't put into words, what that means to me and what it's done for me and how it's catapulted us together as a team to the next level and where we're going and whatnot. And so that's where the idea came into play because I had a lot of clients that come to me and say, well, you know what? I wish I had someone like you, especially when they're out of state or in another country. And they're like, well, when are you coming to this country? When are you coming to the state? And even though I do work remotely, there's nothing like having that one-on-one in-person experience. And they're like, well, shoot, I wish my man could do this. And I'm like, you know what? What's the easiest way for me to multiply myself and reach the most people is to teach other men to be able to become healers just as I am. For the women to become healers for their husbands or the significant others, just like she is to me. And so that's where that platform is developing from. And so we'll be having a series of couples intimacy workshops coming in early 2022. And so be on the lookout for that. It's going to be an extraordinary ride and it's going to be a wonderful adventure that I'm so looking forward to. And it entails all the life lessons that we're learning along the way. And it's just the beginning. And so we're just taking it one step at a time. We're taking it slow and we're just making it happen one love at a time. Yeah.
Okay, I love it. Love to hear it.
Mhm.
Excited, and we'll be looking out for more information as that develops. In
Mhm.
doing that, and in your experience, how do you separate healing and versus dysfunction in intimacy or sexual experience?
Whew. Okay. That, that is a layered question. It's the shadows. The shadows are everything. What lurks in the shadows? The shadows are who we are that we choose not to recognize or choose not to acknowledge. But they come up every time someone says something that didn't quite resonate well, didn't quite sound right, didn't feel right. And then boom, that triggering it's like that something rears up inside of you. And so to understand what your shadows are and what caused them. 9 times out of 10, most of the shadows that exist in our lives come from our childhood. things that we've experienced with our parents, people we grew up with, school, and what they are is defense mechanisms. They're things that protected us in that moment, but as adults, they don't necessarily have any real function in our lives, but they still are happening. They still are a thing. And so, 9 times out of 10, when people are arguing about in a relationship, they don't have a damn thing to do with the person they're arguing with. It has nothing to do with them. It's some kind of feeling that was invoked that was from when they were like 5 or 6 years old, that it reminded them or took them back to that, or they smelled something. I mean, there's any kind of name, any sense that you have, and whatever you associate that negative memory with or that negative situation with, boom, it'll set them off. Yeah. A prime example, my queen, she loves bleach. And we were washing clothes, and I didn't realize that I have a trigger that was from bleach. It came from my mother. My mother loves bleach. She puts bleach on everything. You swear that she would have like took all the paint off everything in the house. But my mother was abusive in every way you can imagine, verbally, mentally, emotionally, physically. I was molested as well. And my mother, for whatever reason, was two situations where almost every time something negative would happen was when she was cleaning with the bleach.
Mm.
And so I remembered that smell. And so that's why it took me back into that moment of a negative experience or feeling some kind of way. And I didn't even know. She was just like, babe, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, I'm good. My whole energy just shifted from that. And the other times when she would take me shopping, which I'm notoriously going to the mall by myself is cool. With the homies is cool. With my partner, comrades, or whatnot, no problem. With my significant other, yeah, it's never a cool situation. And the reason being is that connection between my mother and I, the abuse would either come just before or right afterward.
Mm.
And the reason why it came from before, it would be like, oh yeah, I got you this, and then she find to figure out on the way back home to trip on me, and then all of a sudden it was on as soon as I get to the house or even in the car, and I was getting beat up, or it was afterwards because she felt some level of guilt from what she did to me, so she would take me shopping. And to this day, I'm still working on it. I have trouble accepting gifts because of that reason.
Is you associated either with that guilt experience with her or something
Hmm.
that could come after the gift
Hmm.
given?
Yeah, so either something's about to happen or something did happen. Either way it goes, it was jacked up and I feel some kind of way about it. And so that was one of the biggest things I've had to work on, in recent times. Because now that I understand, because I never knew why until I started doing the shadow work and going back and like reassessing whatever that negative feeling was or is in certain circumstances, and then emotionally processing it. And so there's a big difference between mentally processing something versus emotionally feeling it and really feeling your way through it as if it's happening in that moment, and then understanding at that point what it came from, what's causing it, so that when you're exposed to that in the future or in present day times, you're like, oh, wait, before I trip, I know where that's coming from. Let me attach some sort of a positive spin on it. Now the trigger is no longer controlling you.
Wow. From that, now that you've gone through this process, can you look back and say this may have caused an effect in other past relationships and experiences?
Uh, I don't know if I can say this on your show, but I fucked up a lot of relationships because of that. In those words, yes, undoubtedly, and I've reached back to everyone that I can get in contact with, and apologize to them personally for what I've done.
Wow, that
And
takes a
like,
lot of courage in itself to go back and say that. It's hard because it's
mm-hmm,
easy to do it the opposite way. I'm not going to lie. This is a long time ago when I was in college. I used to hold so much stuff in that I actually
mm-hmm.
was so mad one day. I started calling everybody I was mad at and start telling them
Oh.
like this is what
Woo.
I didn't say. You
Yeah.
know what? And then I went to the next
Mm-hmm.
person and on and on and on. So,
Woo. Wow.
So it's good that you did the opposite, not that, but went
Hmm.
back and reconcile at least, for
Oh
yourself,
yeah.
hopefully
Everybody
for
I could
them.
get in contact with, I reached out to them. Once I realized what was triggering me, the trauma and the things I had said, things I had done, things that, I'm not proud of, but I was operating from a subconscious paradigm that I didn't even know existed because the trauma that came from my mother, I had suppressed all those memories.
Mm.
So once I hit, um, eh, it stopped when I was about 12. Yeah, when I was about 12. Well, no, I take that back. She did put a knife to my neck when I was 16.
Yikes.
Yeah. It's some deep.
Wow.
I mean, that's a pretty big reason why I do the work that I do from the women's wellness side is because my mother is a prime example. Because people are like, well, how did you, get past that? Because I
Yeah,
didn't remember what was going on until I was in my 40s, early 40s.
really.
And so, yeah. And then when it hit me, it was like, wow, okay, this is like the dreams, or I should say, nightmares I used to have. A face finally came into view, and it was my mother's face that was doing all the things that I would have nightmares about. And I realized that they weren't nightmares, they were memories that were
Mm.
coming back. And those subconscious paradigms that existed were playing out in all my relationships. And when I look back at the women that I had been with over the years, they all reflected aspects of my mother.
Mm.
In particular, I mean, I'm not taking nothing from them, I'm not putting nobody down, but they exuded some negative aspects of my mother that I was attracted to. Yeah, because like the normal females, I should say, females that were trauma free, drama free, I would ignore them. They were boring to me.
They were born.
Eh,
They didn't give you that
Yeah, so
little
yeah,
spice.
so they had to have some kind of crazy in them for me to really, you know, be like, yeah, she's the one I want to be with her or whatnot. Yeah, if they didn't have some fire, I called it fire. Yeah,
You
if they
caught it
didn't have no
fire, but
fire,
found out it gave you way too
hmm
much burning, huh?
oh yeah, they was burning my ass up over the years. What was that song by Van Hunt, Down Here in Hell? Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that was pretty much how my relationships were over the years.
Wow. But that's a lot. I mean, just hearing your story, like that's a lot of trauma. So sorry you had to endure
Yeah.
that. I mean, that
Hmm.
is just, a lot for any child to bear. And if you don't mind me asking, do you still have a relationship with your mother?
Yes, I love my mother. I love my mother with everything that I have inside my being because I realized that how I was able to forgive her was first I had to forgive myself. And once I forgave myself for allowing it to happen, I know that sounds weird because people say, well, you're a child. How could you not what kind of say so that you have in that? And so, well, I ain't gonna go way off into that, but anyways, so I forgave myself for allowing it to happen. Then I forgave my mother because you know what? For her to do the things that she did to me, expose me to all the negativity and the hurt and the pain. Hurt people hurt other people, and so in order for her to do that to me, she had to been going through hell because the hell she put me through. I said, "Oh my God!" And then I felt bad for her because it's like, what does she have to go through to inflict that upon me and carry that? And then I started to view my mother differently, and then started to pick up on how she handled things, how she functioned, and whatnot. And I realized that she was losing her mind.
Mm.
And so, uh, okay, I'll tell the story right quick. The final straw when I actually like fully remembered everything. My mother was staying with my grandmother at the time because she was her caregiver. And when I fully remembered what had happened to me, I went to tell my grandfather. I was telling my grandfather what had happened, sharing with him, and she overheard the
Mm.
conversation. And she poisoned my water and
Wow.
almost died.
Wow.
Yeah.
This was as
And
an adult or as still as a child?
yeah, I was like 40, 41. Yeah, somewhere up in there. And yeah, I
Wow.
almost died. And during that time, that's when I really started doing. what I thought was processing everything, but I was intellectualizing it and processing it mentally as opposed to processing things, from a feeling standpoint. But it served me at that time, and that's how I was able to get past and get to the next level. But within about 6 months, I guess the reality of that coming out, because she knew I didn't remember,
All the
and so
until
that,
recent more. Well, in
and then
retrospect.
that coming out, coming into the forefront, she couldn't handle it, and then she snapped. Her mind snapped, and so she's in a home right now.
Getting
Hmm.
her help or treatment.
Well, they diagnosed it as Alzheimer's.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh
and
wow.
so yeah, and the thing is, I'm kind of the, you know what, you got me talking about some things I didn't really know I would
I
say
know.
publicly.
I didn't.
But,
I wasn't expecting
but
to
no,
know
no,
that.
no, no, oh, no, 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 it's cool though. This actually needs to be said. This is the first time I ever said this publicly. As a matter of fact, I was sharing this with my queen not too long ago. I feel like I'm kind of in a twist. The twist being that I know what the protocol is to cure her Alzheimer's, but I feel conflicted that I don't know if I should.
You
Yeah,
don't feel that
because
you should be the person, or you should be any way in the mediation of that process.
both, being that she's no longer a danger to anyone. Because in the situation where she poisoned my water, she also attacked my nephew
Mm.
with a pair of scissors, and then she jumped on my uncle as well. And then after the situation happened with my uncle, she mentally snapped. And so I don't know exactly. I'm torn. Yeah, I'm really torn. Yeah, because it's like, okay, well, do I bring her back? Because I know how, but what is that going to look like? Because right now she's harmless; she can't hurt anyone. But if I bring her back, to her mental capacity, to what level is she coming back? Is she still going to be as toxic as she was before? Is she even open to healing? Because that's the challenge that she faces, is that she's got all this stuff stored up in her. The one thing that I know for sure is that she was raped at gunpoint in front of my father when she was, I think they were still in high school or leaving a high school dance.
Oh gosh, that's traumatic.
Yeah, yeah. And but
All of
what
that.
she had, and but what she was dealing with even comes way before that. When she was a child, I don't know exactly. I've never heard that story, but I do know that the rape at gunpoint situation was something that caused a major divide between my mother and my father. They did subsequently get married 2 years later, but they were never. There was always an issue with that.
Yes.
That's what results in what happened to my mother, and so that's the reason why I do the work that I do, is to put myself in position to help as many women as possible so that the next little boy doesn't have to deal with what I had to deal with. The next little girl doesn't have to go through what I went through from an abuse standpoint. And then also from a generational thing, because I found out last year that I used to like dream of being like my cousins on my mother's side, uh, their brother instead of their cousin, because I always had so much fun with my aunts. The thing is, they used to wish that they could be my sisters because they used to have so much fun with my mother. And the
Oh
thing
wow.
is, and the problem, and then what really was going on, why that was a thing, was because my aunts was just as toxic as my mother was.
Mm.
The only different the dynamic was all my cousins were female, so they didn't get the molestation part, but the verbal, mental, emotional abuse and some of the things that they did to them, I was like, damn, this ain't just it. I always thought it was a me thing, but now I realize it's a generational thing, and it's something that's been passed on and on and on and on for at least 4 generations. You talking about 400 years of just this. And so what I do is to break the generational curses that have plagued my family for the last 400 years.
And so you're able to do that because I know you have children of your own. So breaking
Oh
that
yeah.
cycle, I'm sure, is
Hmm.
at the top of that list.
Yes, absolutely, Absolutely. As a matter of fact, my oldest daughter does the work as well. She's a Reiki master. She's a Tantric healing practitioner. She also has her master's from USC in mental health, actually social work, but our focus is on mental health. So she's able to wear multiple hats, and her holistic approach comes from a clinical standpoint as well as the holistic standpoint. And then my baby girl, I took her out to the Tantra retreat last February, and people were like, "You brought your daughters to a Tantra retreat?" I was like, "Hell yeah!" Because guess what? If they're gonna learn about sex, they may as well learn it from a holistic standpoint. They may as well learn it from a healing standpoint, not just bumping and grinding what you see on porn, but what the real ancient healing modalities, the healing essence, the manifestative powers of what sexuality is all about. And
And
so,
they'll hear it from you being involved because they'll hear all the wrong information from school, from
hmm
friends, from
yes,
music or movie or wherever they get their influence from. Right.
absolutely, absolutely. And now they're not only just hearing it from me, but they're hearing it from powerful sisters that have been in the work for years that can really pull them under their wing and really school them on how to function in their divine feminine. And then also be around brothers that are operating in their divine masculine. And so they're not looking at, Joe Blow off the street that really ain't got nothing to offer but some good dick and a smile, but he ain't really evolved. He's just out to get his and then keep it pushing. And so now they understand what an involved man looks like outside of looking at daddy. There's a whole community of men that operate like that. And now they're like, oh, okay, this is what a relationship goal looks like.
Yes. Relationship goal,
Hmm.
hashtag, like really what it looks like and for them.
Yes,
And then your
absolutely.
son can see as well as he's watching
Hmm.
you
Oh yeah.
from young, or right, or
Hmm. Oh
and
yeah. As soon as he becomes of age, he'll be right there too.
yeah, awesome.
Hmm.
Oh my God, this
Yeah.
was definitely more than I expected, but all in all the good ways of healing.
Right.
And glad to see you still going through the process or arriving at breaking the generational curse. I think that is so important, just being able to stop and understand those traumatic experiences and how they affect us and affect others, and being able to come in and stop it, because I think it destroys lives,
Hmm.
marriages, relationships, all of those things that just really destroy us as a person. So I thank you, but I also want to give you the platform to tell people where they can find you, your services, where you're located, all of the good information that can help people.
Okay.
You can expand your reach and your help.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And so we have two physical locations, one in Atlanta, Georgia, and then also the Malibu office as well. We do have a potential partnership in the works that will make us a global brand within the next 3 to 5 years. Like I said, that's still in the works, so I won't speak on that yet. Other than the fact that I want to put it in the atmosphere because it's definitely
Speak it,
going to be,
speak
it's,
it.
it will definitely be a game changer for not only the community as a whole, but the world to be able to do this work across all nations and whatnot, and to be able to teach. That was the biggest thing, is to be able to teach. We also do remote work, so we don't necessarily have to be in your city to do the work. And then we also travel and do the retreats. So you can catch us there, or you can catch us at one of the offices over in Malibu as well as Atlanta. And so my contact information. Yes. The easiest one to remember, because we have multiple URLs. My personal one that will take you to everything that we're doing. It's EYE Jeffrey, JEFFREY .org. So it's IamJeffrey.org. And that's the same thing for my Facebook handle as well as my IG handle. So it's I am Jeffrey. And the works that I do specifically, my focus is on sacred intimacy, couples counseling, women's wellness counseling, and I'm a quantum Reiki masseur. And so that's a combination of Reiki, quantum touch, and then physical massage. And so it's more of a gateway therapy that is used to, it's more of a holistic approach. And so someone that responds better to touch as opposed to just pure energy work. And so it transitions them into the energy work. because now they've opened up from the massage, and now it's easier to have the energy flowing through to induce the healing that's needed for them to break those emotional blockages, those energetic blockages that are causing the physical ailments that they are experiencing. It's a phenomenal modality. It's something that I really enjoy doing. And then we also have multiple other modalities from the ozone therapy. That's something that's recently come on board, the ozone therapy. Someone has any kind of like chronic illness or challenge that they're dealing with, the ozone therapy really cuts to the chase as far as helping a person get to that next level, and helps them induce the healing in their body. And then we have two Tantra practitioners on board as well, which is my daughter and my future son in law. Then we have a full time massager on board as well. It's my sister Gina. And then my queen, she does ear candling and ion foot detoxes, and she administers the ozone therapies. And we will be offering colonics, and so that's another modality we'll be bringing on. And that's the primary services we offer. If someone's interested in like the full body detoxes, that's one of our flagship products. Is
No.
the full body detox. It transformed my life last year, and I've never looked back. I lost over 40 pounds,
Wow.
actually 30 pounds in 20 days, and then the other 10 I lost within the next 45 days after I started working out.
Wow.
But it just pulled all the stuff that was just built up inside my body, and took me to the next level.
Oh,
To be able that full body detox from herbs of the forest, that was that turning point for me last year,
wow. Sounds
because
like you
that
guys
opened me up.
offer a full gamut
Hmm.
of
Oh
service.
yeah.
Yes.
Hmm.
Love it.
So
I'm,
yeah.
I'm
So yeah.
sure
So I
there's
am Jeffrey. Yeah, is the connection. So just remember that EYE am Jeffrey.
EYE
So I.
Jeffrey. Yes.
So
We'll definitely, I
I
see
as in third eye.
eye
Yeah.
is in the third eye. Okay. We'll definitely have to
Hmm.
have a part two. I feel like we hit the surface and there is like so much more, but I appreciate your transparency, your vulnerability. I know I was touched by your story. I know other women and people in general that can be healed by what you do. And I think it's so
Hmm.
important. So I appreciate you coming on and being transparent. So thank you for
Oh no, I appreciate you having me. Thank you so much for the platform. And
absolutely.
yeah, we can run it back whenever you like. I'm an open book, so
All right. I'm looking
anything I
forward
can
to it
share.
because this was great.
Hmm. Oh
Definitely.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I appreciate your divine presence. Uh,
Same here. Well,
all right.
thank you guys for watching and joining us. Again, you can catch him at iamjeffrey.org. You can also catch us and the stream on Speaking of Audacity on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Join us. We have lots to talk about and to discuss. Until next time, have a good day.